The incline biceps curl is one of the most underrated curls out there. It's a really great curl to help you develop your biceps peak, and it's a curl that's going to challenge your biceps in a new way. Here we're going to put our biceps on stretch, and by working from that position, we're going to recruit more muscle fibers, and we also get to get a really good squeeze at the top of every single rep. Understanding how to do this though is key, because if you don't, you're going to damage your shoulders. We're going to show you how to get it just right and really get that good bicep squeeze from it right now. All we're trying to do with this curl is get our elbow behind our torso so that we put our biceps on stretch. That's our purpose here. But we don't need to wildly get our elbow behind our torso in order to get that stretch. And a lot of times we're taking our shoulder out of its natural position when we do that. So one of the biggest adjustments and one of the biggest mistakes I see on the incline curl is people start with this 30 to 45 degree incline, and that's not the position that you want to be in. Because look at how much stretch we've got on that biceps, and look at how much stretch we've got on your shoulders. You still want to protect your shoulders, and you just don't need that much stretch on your biceps to get something out of this curl. So what we're going to do to start, and we're going to move this up. Think about having your incline bench around a 60-degree angle. Whatever is closest to a 60-degree angle is going to be your best place for this incline curl. You can actually even go a little bit higher if you need, because when Brett goes back onto this bench, what you're instantly going to see, let's let the weight hang, is he's still got some stretch on that biceps. We don't need a wild stretch on our biceps, and we can't really use our biceps with a lot of load if we get too much stretch. But here he's going to be able to still move a decent amount of weight, and his shoulders are going to be comfortable. If you have shoulder pain when you're doing this move, it's likely because you've got that bench too far back and your shoulders are just under too much stretch. And when you have that pain, you're not going to be able to focus on what we want to get out of the curl. So once Brett is in this position, we want to think about a couple things before we start curling. First is going to be head position. Yes, you can lay your head back. What I generally find for most people is that it's a little bit more comfortable just throughout your thoracic spine if you keep your head up. Next thing we want to do, we want to make sure that Brett's shoulder blades are nice and tight. He wants to squeeze through them. That's going to, again, create a little bit more space for his rotator cuff tendons to work, and it's going to keep him from driving too far forward and getting any kind of shoulder pain. So we want to make sure that his shoulder blades stay squeezed. Third thing we want to think about, we want to make sure we've got a perpendicular line from shoulder to elbow, and we want to maintain that for the life of the curl. We're trying to get our elbows behind our torso. Once we lose that, if Brett starts to let his elbows shift forward, then he loses that position, and we lose that advantage we lose that disadvantage actually that our biceps have to overcome. So this is the position from which you curl. Once you're here, the incline curl is simple. All Brett is going to do, again, he's going to work on keeping his elbows back, maintain this perpendicular line, and all he's going to do is curl up. This is not an explosive move either. What you want to actually do is keep it nice and controlled with the tempo. That way you can feel your biceps working. When you get to the top, try to squeeze the heck out of your biceps on every single rep, because that's what we're working, and you're going to get more out of it if you add that squeeze on these isolation style movements. Key thing you'll notice too is as Brett's curling up, that elbow is not coming forward. As you start to use heavier weights, your elbow is going to want to shift forward a little bit more, and that's okay at the end, but you want to hold them back for as long as possible. And at that last move, if you drive your elbows forward a little bit, that's okay, especially when you're going heavier. A secondary function of your biceps is actually that shoulder flexion, so it's okay to have a little bit of that in the movement. But you want to make sure that you stay back on that curl for as long as possible, because that's what's going to allow you to get the most out of it for your biceps. So that is your incline curl. And again, this is not going to be the heaviest curl that you do. What we're using it for is as a complement to our other curls. You're going to go with your standing barbell curl or your standing dumbbell curl as your lead curl. That's going to be your strongest move. Then maybe you have a hammer curl in your workout, and then you have a preacher curl where again your elbows shift in front of your torso. You're using the incline curl. The best way to use it is going to be as probably your final biceps exercise, because it's not an exercise where you're going to be able to lift max weight. So you just Get your elbows behind your torso on your final move and think of doing 10 to 12 reps for 3 sets. Keep the weight manageable and focus on squeeze. And again, focus on keeping your elbows behind your torso for as long as you can so that we work from that stretch position and challenge our biceps in a new way.